Hey, and welcome to the highlights of episode number 105 with Jon Gabriel. Some of my favorite parts of this episode were when he talks about why our bodies hold on to weight and what we can do about it. This was awesome. I also loved when he spoke about stress and what that does to our body and why you're going to want to limit all of the stress in your life. And I also loved when he talks about why diets, restriction, and deprivation don't work. But there is so much more wisdom, knowledge, and inspiration that you get in the full episode. So to listen to the full podcast and to get all the information in the show notes, head to melissaambrosini.com/105 right now. Welcome, Jon. It is so great to have you on the show. Tell us about your story and how you got to where you are today, and specifically how you lost around about 100 kilos in 2.5 years, which is just mind-blowing. So can you tell us a little bit about your story and how that all happened?
The biggest thing about my story, which is really where when I'm out in the world talking about weight loss, is the fact that I lost the weight without restrictive dieting. I was not restricting myself. I was not measuring portions. There was nothing that I couldn't eat. And yet I still lost the 100 kilos. And that was back in 2004. And I've been the same weight pretty much since 2004. And I still don't measure food or count calories or do any of the typical diet things. And what's interesting, though, is that before I lost the weight, I went on an 11-year period where I was just gaining weight, despite any effort that I could to lose weight. And I pretty much tried everything to lose weight. This was back in the 1990s. I was living in New York. I was working on Wall Street. And as soon as I moved to New York and started working on Wall Street, I started gaining weight. And I didn't think too much about it in the beginning, but the thing is I just kept gaining. And I got to this place where I probably gained about 50 pounds. And I said, all right, I got to do something about this. And I did what everybody did. I went on a diet because that's what we're all conditioned and that's what we're all taught is it's all about calories in and calories out. And you just need to eat less and exercise more. So I ate less, I exercised more. I did all these things. And what happened was I lost maybe a couple of pounds through sheer brute force. And then I gained the weight back because I'd have cravings all the time. So I was basically fighting cravings for pizza and all the bad foods that you're not supposed to have, especially in New York. There's just so many amazing restaurants and they all deliver and pizza is just unbelievable. And so I gained the weight back. And what happened then is I went on a period of time for over about an 8-year period where I just tried so many different ways to lose weight. I tried every diet that I could find, including working face to face with the late Dr. Atkins from the Atkins diet. So he's not around anymore, but he was alive back in the 90s. He was living in New York, and I was his client. I spent thousands and thousands of dollars working with him. I would meet with him every Monday morning for months. And in the end, he just yelled at me for being so fat. He goes, "What are you doing? You're killing yourself." And I thought, is that really the best you can do? I mean, I'm spending thousands of dollars with you. I'm following your advice. You think I'm going to lose weight because you're mad at me? You think yelling at me is going to help? Like I don't have my own motivation? But I wasn't losing weight. I would lose a little bit of weight and then I'd have these cravings, then I'd gain the weight back. And when I say I tried everything, I went to the Pritikin Institute and worked with Nathan Pritikin's son. I did acupuncture. I did homeopathy. I met with all kinds of doctors and naturopaths. And the same thing would happen every time. Basically, whatever the diet was, I'd follow to the letter. And there'd always be this whole list of things that you can't have. No wheat, no sugar, no dairy. Whatever it was, I'd follow the diet to the letter. And I'd lose a little bit of weight over, let's say, a 3-week period of just sheer brute force and willpower. I'd lose the weight, but I'd be at war with my body. Every day would be a battle. I'd be fighting cravings night and day. And then eventually, I'd be too tired and too stressed out, and I'd have a binge. And when I couldn't fight my cravings anymore, I'd have this big binge. And whatever weight I lost, and maybe I'd lose 5 kilos over a 2 or 3 week period, maybe if I was lucky. Those 5 kilos, and I'm not exaggerating, once I had that binge, it would come back in a day, maybe 2. And then a week later, I'd be 5 kilos heavier than when I even started the diet. And right after that, that was August of 2001. And right after that was September of 2001. And I was almost on one of the planes that were in the 9/11 attacks. I was almost on the one, United Airlines Flight 93 that supposedly crash landed in Pennsylvania. I was almost on that flight. And when I when I realized that my life was spared, I thought to myself, here I am, over 400 pounds or over 186 kilos. I almost died. I should have died by all accounts, because I was scheduled to be in that plane, or I would have been on the plane if certain things hadn't happened. And I felt like the universe gave me a second chance. And I decided that I was sort of living on borrowed time. And I decided to stop putting my life on hold, because I was living in New York, working at a job that I wasn't crazy about, didn't like. And I decided to start living the life of my dreams. And part of my dreams was to move to Western Australia, which I did. And I bought a house in Western Australia, in Denmark, Western Australia, beautiful place. I bought it a couple of years earlier, and I thought, well, someday I'm going to move there when I retire. When I have enough money and I don't have to work anymore, I'm going to retire. But I decided that there's no more putting my life on hold. I sold my business. I moved to Western Australia. We had about 12 acres, and so I started growing my own food, living really simply. I started doing a lot of meditation, a lot of visualization, a lot of praying and asking for guidance. And I started nourishing my body, not to lose weight anymore, because I've given up on dieting and given up on losing weight. I just wanted to be healthy. I felt grateful to be alive, and I just wanted to heal myself. And so I ate more healthy, not to lose weight, and not in a restrictive sense either, because if I wanted, I was still eating chocolate and pizza and chips. And I once drove 60 miles just to go to McDonald's, and just because that was the closest McDonald's. But I was adding salads and supergreens and things like that, and doing a lot of meditation. And without doing any restriction whatsoever, the weight started melting off of my body. And it was very paradoxic, because I was not even trying to diet anymore. But here it was, I was losing weight. And I probably lost the first 50 kilos or 100 pounds without even thinking about it, without even thinking about weight loss. But all of a sudden, my clothes are just falling off of me. And everyone's saying, oh, you look so amazing, this and that. So started doing more exercise, and I started kind of running with the ball a little bit. And then over the next year, the weight just melted off of me. And I was in the same fitness that I was when I was an athlete. I was in shape, I was healthy, but it was all without dieting. And that's when I knew I had a message for the world, that it's not just about calories in and calories out. It's not just about restriction and willpower. It's about addressing the real issues, which for me were very much stress-based, emotional-based. Eventually, I had some digestion issues and some sleep issues, which we can talk about. But all those issues just went away. And when the issues went away, the issues that were causing my body to hold on to weight, the weight melted off of my body. And I've been the same weight since 2004 now, and I do not diet in a restrictive sense. I do address what I consider the real issues that cause people to gain weight, which are not necessarily the food part is important, but it's not the be all and end all. It's like just focusing on the food is like the tail wagging the dog. There's reasons why we crave junk food. There's reasons why we crave a lot of food. There's reasons why your body wants to hold on to weight. You adjust those reasons, and the weight comes off. And that's been my message since then. I wrote a book back about 10 years ago called The Gabriel Method, that's been translated into 16 languages and it's in 60 countries. And it's been a bestseller in many countries. And the reason is because it really makes sense to a lot of people who are being told, you just got to eat less. It's just about, you just got to try harder, and really shamed for not being able to take off the weight, when in reality, the advice that they're giving is wrong. And they know it's wrong, but they just don't know what the right advice is. And that's where, the book has made so much sense for people.
Can you tell us what the Gabriel Method is?
The Gabriel Method is a process of losing weight by getting your body to actually want to be thinner, rather than through struggle or force, by addressing the issues that are causing your body to hold on to weight. And those issues are not necessarily that you're just weak or lazy or that you eat too much. There are mind, body, and emotional and energetic reasons, triggers, that trick your body into holding on to weight for survival reasons. And when you address those reasons, your body wants to let go of weight. And when your body wants to let go of weight, losing weight is the easiest thing in the world. Now, it may take some effort to get your body to want to be thin, but it's not the same things. The things that make your body want to be thin are not the same things that force your body to lose weight when you're forcing yourself through restriction. That does not make your body want to be thin. And that's why people that force themselves to lose weight through dieting often gain it back, because you're not addressing the real issues. So the Gabriel Method is the process, understanding what the real issues are, identifying them, addressing the ones that pertain to you to get your body to want to be thin so that your body is in cooperation with you and loses weight because it wants to lose weight. Basically, your body gets converted into a fat storage machine because of these hormones that are coming from the stress. Now, here's the interesting thing, because we don't live outdoors anymore. We don't have famines anymore. We don't have to worry about cold weather because we live in protected environments. But we still have chronic low-grade stress. We've got mental stress, emotional stress, and physical stress. The stress of trying to make ends meet, emotional trauma, the stress, digestive stresses, toxins, foods that have no nutrients, what I call a nutritional famine. All these different things cause chronic low-grade stress in our bodies. And for some people, those chronic low-grade stresses cause the exact same hormonal chemistry as a famine. And by doing so, trick your brain into thinking you need to be fat for survival reasons. It's just programming. So what you need to do is you need to address the chronic low-grade stresses in your life. And now you mentioned visualization. Visualization is great for reducing mental stress, which is one of the stresses that causes you to gain weight. It's also great for working through emotional issues, which is another chronic low-grade stress that causes you to gain weight. And it's great for getting your body your mind and body to work together, creating positive habits, and for several other things. So that's why visualization is kind of a cornerstone of our approach, because it's so powerful in many of these non-diet related issues that cause you to gain weight. But what you need to do is you need to figure out what those stresses are for you. And they're common for some of us, but some are unique for individuals, depending on where you are and what's happened to you and your history. But you need to address those stresses. You have to reduce the stresses and the stress hormones and also the inflammatory hormones, because they're a form of a stress hormone that causes you to gain weight. There's certain things that are common to everyone. There are stresses that are common to everyone. So the first things you can do is, number one, start listening to visualization. So we've created a number of visualizations. We have an evening visualization on our website, thegabrielmethod.com, that's free to download. Just listen to it as you're going to sleep at night. It will reduce stress, help you work through emotional issues, and get your mind and body to work together. You just press play and fall asleep to it. That's the first thing. Then during the day, drink more water. That's really, really important, or some healthy liquid. So you're flushing out toxins and hydrating your body, because one of the reasons why we gain weight is because we are not hydrated enough. That's a chronic stress. And then add healthy food as medicine. Forget about necessarily measuring calories or content or quantity. Add food as medicine. So add healthy salads, add super greens, add green juices, add sprouts, spirulina, as I mentioned this morning. Add healthy foods as medicine, drink more water, listen to the visualizations. Those are things you can do right now that it's like the 80-20 rule. That 20% that you do right there will take care of 80% of the issues. The visualizations, the way we do them, are a type of meditation. So to me, the defining characteristic of a meditation is it puts your brain waves in a specific state. What they call the alpha state and the theta brainwave states. When your brain is in the alpha and the theta brainwave states, you're getting tremendous, tremendous benefits in many, many different ways. Now, what we do is we put you in that state through the visualizations and then make suggestions. And what happens is there's been studies where when you're in the alpha state, and alpha and theta brainwave states, your neurons, your brain cells are more plastic. That is, that they are more able to make brain connections quicker, the way a kid is. Children spend most of their time in the alpha and the theta brainwave state. And that's why they have an amazing capacity to learn, because of the brainwave state that they're in makes their brain cells very plastic and very easy to create whatever the thing is that they need to learn. They can learn it very quickly. That's why kids can learn a second language without the trace of an accent, and many other things that grown-ups can't do. They're in this brainwave state. So we put you in this brainwave state where your brain is very, very plastic and able to make these connections. And then you visualize your desired outcome. For example, you visualize the weight melting off of you, or you visualize yourself eating a delicious salad and loving it. You visualize yourself being very productive at work or very successful at work or having a great meeting, or working through an emotional issue with someone. Anything that you visualize when you're in that state, it's like rehearsing for it, and you're more likely to have a successful outcome. You're more likely to, if you visualize, for example, let's say I really want to start eating a healthier lunch. You visualize doing that. You visualize going to the restaurant, ordering the healthy thing, loving it. You're going to end up doing it, and much easier. Many people tend to gain weight when they've had some sort of abuse. They did a study recently called the ACE study, and ACE is an acronym for ACE, is Adverse Childhood Experiences. So what they found, and this was a study they did on 17,000 people, and they found that those individuals that had a traumatic or abusive childhood were 50 to 75% more likely to be obese. And that's not a coincidence, because sometimes when you've had a traumatic experience, the weight acts as like a form of protection. You're less visible. What happens is the weight can make you feel safer. If you're bigger, you're less likely to be attacked. If you've been abused, you're less likely to be abused. So the weight can act as a buffer. And when you have this, it's something I call emotional obesity, which is different than emotional eating. Emotional eating is you're eating to calm down. Emotional obesity is you're actually feeling safer by having the weight. The weight is making you feel safer emotionally. So that has to be addressed. And visualization is a really, really powerful way to work through emotional issues. You can visualize the event that happened that was traumatic. You can visualize it happening a totally different way, having a guardian angel there protecting you, or the event not happening, or you standing up for yourself, or all these different ways. I call it recreating your past. And in reality, it doesn't recreate your past, but to your body, it does. I have this one visualization that's an abundance visualization, and anyone listening can try this. So what you do is you imagine that you're in this infinite ocean, like as far as you can see of abundance. Now, when I say ocean, I don't mean necessarily water. It could be like a cloudy light. It's just light. It's like an infinite ocean, expanse of light, an infinite ocean of light, and that infinite ocean of light is really just an ocean of abundance. And so much abundance that just one drop of that is more abundance than Bill Gates has, more abundance than just anyone can have in a million lifetimes. Just one drop, and you're in this ocean of it. And then as you're sitting there, you just imagine that all the pores of your skin open up, and all of that abundance comes rushing into your body, filling every cell of your body with the energy and the vibration of abundance. And then when that's happening, then you imagine what your life would be like if you had everything you want, whether it's having $1 billion or the perfect romance or the perfect family life or the perfect house. Every single thing, the sky's the limit. Once all that energy is coming in, you then visualize everything that you want that's in terms of abundance, and then imagine it happening over a 3-month, 6-month, 1-year period. As you visualize your coming days, you imagine more and more of that thing happening, more and more wealth or success or love, and growing over a 3 to 6 month period. It's a really powerful way to attract abundance, and also kind of vibrate at the same frequency as abundance, which helps you get into the place where you're able to bring abundance into your life. What we can do is to bring more love inside ourselves, to actually love ourselves more in a very tangible way. And here's another visualization you can try. You can imagine your heart just overflowing with love, like a spotlight. If you imagine your heart like a spotlight, and it's shining to your whole body and just radiating love. And you can even imagine if you have like a spiritual person that you follow, alive or dead, like Mother Mary, Mother Teresa, Mother Mary, Jesus, whatever the spiritual person, imagine them touching your back and filling your body with love. And imagine your heart like a spotlight radiating to every cell of your body. And while it's radiating to every cell of your body, you imagine every cell of your body saying at the same time, I love you. Just over and over again, I love you, I love you, I love you, I love you. By doing that, you are vibrating at the frequency of love.